From the late 1930s to the mid-1940s, a man by the name of Adolf Hitler ruled over Germany as the leader of the Nazi movement. He was a harsh dictator who held a tight grip on his citizens through his persuasive speeches and moving voice. His speeches provoked millions. Whether it be good or bad, he had an effect. War broke out and casualties followed throughout Europe and Asia. Gory battles, such as D-Day, where the Allied nations attacked the beaches of Normandy, were familiar sights all over the globe. As the end of the war drew near, circumstances in Berlin were grave. The Soviets attacked the Nazi capital of Berlin. During the intense fighting, thousands of soldiers and civilians were killed or injured. The Battle of Berlin ended with the Soviet takeover of Berlin and the Russian flag flying over the deserted city, signifying the end of World War II. Adolf Hitler, featuring capture from the Allied nations, committed suicide. Happiness was seen throughout Europe because of his death and the end of the war. People all over the world celebrated and rejoiced on VE Day, yet the war for Berlin was not over. Documents signed by the German Supreme Commander declared the surrender of Germany to the Allied forces. These documents gave the Allied nations complete control over all of Germany. The Yalta Conference, named after the location that held it, from February 4th to February 11th, was a meeting where the Big Three, known as Franklin D. Roosevelt, Winston Churchill, and Joseph Stalin, met to divide the conquered Germany amongst themselves into the American, British, Russian, and French zones. Later, the Potsdam Conference, held from July 16th to August 2nd in 1945, was a meeting where Joseph Stalin, Winston Churchill, and Harriet Truman met to take the same principle clarified at the Yalta Conference and divide Germany.
These leaders also decided on the deportation of many German women, men, and children from their homes in German-occupied territories. Consequently, thousands became refugees. In addition, they agreed on the total dematerialization of Germany by destroying many factories, which were Germany's main economic base. Denazification was another main point established. It was the removal of all Nazi paraphernalia from books, street signs, and other types of media. Due to the dematerialization of Germany, its whole economy was ruined. This put Germany into a huge food shortage, so people protested it. Eventually, other countries helped out by airlifting supplies into Germany. Taking the same principles from the division of Germany, they also divided the German capital Berlin into the same sections. In 1949, following the organization of the NATO, the French, British, and American zones formed to make the Federal Republic of Germany. The Federal Republic of Germany, or West Germany, was a member of the NATO, or the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, which protected the GDR if it was ever attacked. A man named Konrad Adenauer was its first ruler and built Germany back up after the war. In the 1949 currency change, the West Germans converted to the West German mark. The Soviet part of Germany, or the German Democratic Republic, ironically was a socialist nation that was primarily ruled by Wilhelm Peck and Otto Kretschmer. In the currency change, East Germany converted to the East German mark. With the onset of the Cold War, the East German government wanted to keep their population at a steady level and keep their people from crossing into the democratic part of Germany. To do this, they built a 12-foot wall. People tried to cross into West Germany, but their attempts were futile. Those who crossed were lucky, but those who were caught were either killed or imprisoned and stuck behind East German walls. However, some found loopholes in the system and found ways to leave. This caused a huge flock of people fleeing from East Germany to the democratic West Germany. When the Berlin Wall was finished in 1963, John F. Kennedy came to visit the newly built structure. He opposed its building, but he had much bigger things to worry about. Like the fact that nuclear weapons were in the hands of Cuban ruler Fidel Castro and Russian ruler Leonid Brezhnev. Because of this, severe precautions had to be taken by U.S. presidents at the time, John F. Kennedy and Richard Nixon. After the division of Germany between the Allied forces after World War II, Russia became angered and it broke away from the Allied forces, thus leading to the Cold War and a lot of other tension. The Cold War was a battle against communism, which was fought through the Vietnam War and the Korean War. The Cold War became coming to a close whenever Ronald Reagan took a visit to Berlin.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
He told then Communist leader Mikhail Gorbachev to tear down the Berlin Wall and reunite East Germany and West Germany. Mr. Gorbachev did tear down that wall with the help of many German citizens who wanted a better life for themselves and their children. Parts of the Berlin Wall still exist today, but stand just as art along the boundaries between old East and West Germany. In 1990, after the destruction of the Berlin Wall, Germany was reunited and now stands today under one president, Christian Wolff.